So now you see that the times are nearing where they will throw you under the bus. So don't be shocked when your family member throws you under the bus or your best friend throws you under the bus and stuff like that, right? So these are the times where you have to do your own homework and you have to evaluate everything and everybody that anyone says. All right, so I asked a good friend of mine, how did you go under? You were young, you were successful, you had multiple businesses, and you had a heavy real estate portfolio in the 90s. And this is what he said. First, it started very slow, and then it happened suddenly. So in this video, I want to talk about that. I want to share another story that is mind-boggling to me. It happens to me every single week. I would like your opinion on it. So please comment on it. Let's share. Let's see if this is even fair. However, I believe that all these rate cuts, which are very minimal, quarter here, quarter there, they will not be able to save this disaster of pre-construction market and Canadian housing market. So some of these families, whether we like it or not, will be sacrificed for the next decade or two. So let's get right into the video. All right, so false hope and the market spin. So breaking down the low rates won't undo the structural damage, right? Equity has already melted for buyers from 2001 and 2002. Banks are more concerned with their collateral than family budget, and realtors and brokers keep selling the dream. Just wait, it always recovers. And we have seen that, right? Like we have seen that marketing from these people that are basically on commissions, right? So there are these hooks and pain points. They're trying to get you in, and they keep repeating the same thing. History keeps repeating itself, and it always bounces back, and now it's the right time, and we hit the bottom, and this and that and the other. And I had some of these folks called me personally, and the question that I asked was, would you purchase your own house today? And they started laughing. I said, well, I'm in the industry too. And they said, well, I wouldn't, but it's a great time because if you're in the market and on, all these hooks and all of that stuff, right? But the truth is, we're not in best standing, right? And the Bank of Canada is even saying, and they were saying like, look, we cannot make the mistake that we did in the, early 2020s and stuff like that, because, that was hard to offset, right? They were focused on making the market grow and controlling that particular inflation in that particular emergency state period of time. However, today it's a little bit different. So they're playing with these numbers. They're trying to offset the tariffs and whatnot. But however you slice it, these people are in the problems because their actual equity is already gone. The market feathered, right? People ask me, do not use the word collapse because it hasn't collapsed. Yes, for some of you, it hasn't collapsed yet. But for some people that had 10% down, 20% down, it's already a collapse because they have zero money. On top of that, there's more of problems that they have. If they have purchased a pre-construction condo, or if they have invested their money somewhere else, or if they went into a business venture that was very, very popular around these times, just expanding your horizons and whatnot, right? So all of that stuff was created with death. That's it, right? So let's move on. The harsh reality, mortgage resets, explains the reset timeline between 2025 and 2026. Record volumes of mortgages will renew at much higher rates. Families face double or triple payments. The system isn't designed to help, it's designed to protect the bank. Yes, and we see it, right? Like we lend from the bank, and there's that period of time, that contract or the agreement, we have to renew our mortgages, right? So just ask yourself a solid question. Do you earn more money today than you did 5 years or 10 years ago, right? Most of the time, in my experience, they say, well, I'm earning less money because of, the circumstances. It's not easy. It's more expensive for me to make the same money, right? So people that work on commissions know this exactly. Purchasing leads, buying leads, going into that whole marketing aspect, it requires way, way, way more money in order to land the same amount of, I would say, customers or gains or profits, right? So during the pandemic time, even if you had a Facebook post about something, regardless what it was, you would have thousands upon thousands of hits, and then you sit there and you choose whoever, whatever, and whatnot. However, if you had a business card and you happen to drop it from the 22nd floor and it happened to land in front of that building, someone will pick up your business card and they will say, oh my gosh, it's a realtor, I'm sure they can help me, and they will call you and you will make a deal happen, right? So that's the direction. So when I touched on realtors and all of the stuff that has been going on in that real estate space, don't forget, real estate agents, right? Aside from maybe ego and whatnot, I'm sure there's that 5% or 10% of solid professionals, real estate professionals, but everything else contributed to the economy. They were buying cars, they were buying all kinds of stuff, and if they were making some money, they were fueling that money back into that particular industry, the country, and the actual economy. So that is gone, ladies and gentlemen, right? Not only in that industry, like we're looking at the mortgage brokers, we're looking at real estate agents, we're looking like the whole umbrella of different businesses that are struggling. Now we're pivoting into construction. These guys are at the lunch. There's only a certain amount of very good qualified professionals that are continuing to work, and they're holding the entire industry. Everybody else is just sitting on the couch and watching videos. That's the truth, whether you want to admit it or not. So, but the biggest problem in this times are people are still hoping, woo, did you see that? The light, it's okay. So, but people are still hoping that somehow next year something will happen and these prices will reset and they will get out of the gutter. That's the whole point of the hope and the praying, right? But these minor adjustments of a quarter point here and there will not move the needle. So the personal story. All right. So the personal story is that my phone rings once a week for the past, 6 months to a year. And then I know that people are in a bigger and heavier problem than they are without them saying it. So why? Why do I believe that? I could be wrong, but this is what I personally believe. So this is what happens. They call and they say, hey, look, I got your phone number. I have your number in my phone. We've known each other for a long time. You're a great guy. You're this, you're that. Like all these compliments first. And then after that, they say, hey, look, I listed a property with somebody. Here's the MLS number, or here's my address. Can you just look at it and can you give me your personal opinion if everything is fine? I say, hold on a second. So who did you list it with? So I listed with X. It doesn't matter. Not a reputable brokerage. I don't want to knock anybody, but it seems like mom and pop shop, like nothing of a significance. I say, fine. Who is the agent? Unknown. Fine. All right. So what do you want me to do exactly? Oh no, you know what? Like it's already listed. So we want to rent it. I'm not sure if you do rentals or not. Like the escape clause now, it's getting in there, right? Because now they feel bad. And then what they get into is like, I just want your honest opinion because you're a professional, you're a good guy. We trust you. You know what you're talking about. Just give me your personal opinion. And then you know what? Since it's on the market, bring a client because you're the best. So I'm thinking, and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, what is going on? So if I decipher it, this is what's going on. First, they hired somebody that will do it next to nothing, right? Because they want to save money, because they're in a problem, right? When people start making less and less money, right, and they have to start planning ahead by not a mile, by 10,000 miles ahead, now everything makes a difference, right? So they will outsource it to somebody who is a nobody. They will also try to bend them over many times. They know they will not get the service, right? And but all they care is just for that property to be on MLS. Then they will outsource professionals for free advice, for free brain power, for free everything, because we know each other or we have been friends for a decade or two or whatever, right? So it just goes to show me that they're not my friend or they're not your friend. They're just there to look for themselves, and they don't care what happens to me or to you. They just scared to move forward. So now I know that these times are around the corner, because when everybody starts to undercut even a nobody, right? I'm not talking big businesses and multi-billion-dollar contracts and only certain people can walk in that room and yada, yada, yada. I understand that. It's cutthroat, it's this, it's that, it's linked to so many other links. I get it. But this is just ordinary people doing ordinary things, right? So now you see that the times are nearing where they will throw you under the bus. So don't be shocked when your family member throws you under the bus or your best friend throws you under the bus and stuff like that, right? So these are the times where you have to do your own homework and you have to evaluate everything and everybody that anyone says. So even what I'm saying, verify it yourself, do your own research, right? What do you feel? How does it make sense? Unfortunately, we're in these times. Back in the day, it was different, because doesn't matter what happens, the market, the situation, the economy kind of resets itself, right? Because I heard it so many times. You know what I mean? Oh, I wanted to pay for this house. Extra money. Why? Because I wanted it, man. It doesn't matter. Next year, like, it'll offset itself. Check this out. That was the psychology. I paid 10% more because I know next year, don't worry about it. It will be 1.1 million. True value is 1, but don't worry about it, because it will offset my desire, my need, my want, just like that, and we will move forward. So that's the problem, that those resets don't exist anymore. So please comment below. I would love to hear your comment on that. So bigger picture, who wins and who loses? Banks and policymakers treat housing as expendable collateral. Families become the sacrifice zone. Realtors chasing leads instead of trust as part of the cycle. The hard question, is it fair, or are Canadians being left to drown while the system moves on? Well, I don't think it's only Canada. I think every system in the world, I mean, obviously there's government and there's banks and everybody's trying to protect themselves with policy, with this, with that, and the other, and the agreements, right? But if you don't have any brains and you only have hopes, that's the problem. Like, you only have hopes that somehow it will work out, right? Somehow, like, everything will, like, come to a positive conclusion at the end. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But if you don't know how to control or manage your internal desires, that's the outcome. Like, are you going to be the sacrifice? Most of the time, unfortunately, some of these families are trapped. Like, so many fell off already. I know people that lost hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of dollars. All their savings, their parents' savings. Most of these pre-construction units were borrowed against a existing property. Many people forget that. Most of these pre-construction units were bought because parents funded it. What do you think? These kids, like, have money, 100, 200,000 saved up in the age of 24 to buy a studio apartment at 700,000 back in the day in Toronto downtown? No. It was all funded. It was all that fear of missing out, and these kids, that new gen, telling the parents, hey, you don't know what you're talking about. Give me the money. I'm late to the party. Come on. I'm missing out. And all of that stuff. So one thing, the domino effect led to another thing. And now that's the sacrifice. So that portion will be sacrificed, whether we like it or not. So revisit the false belief. The market always comes back. Yes, the market always comes back, but what is the trajectory? Nobody is calculating that. Nobody is evaluating. Yes, we had blips in the market from 2000 to 2020, right? I'm not counting after, but those blips happened. 6 months, 9 months, we again, 6 months, 9 months, 1 year back again, 2008. 2016, 17, right? Like I've traded, I've known these times. It happened. But this is different, right? And they say, well, it's coming back. It's not coming back. We've been in it already for 3 years. A lot of it has been sacrificed. A lot of it has been lost. And I think the big wave is coming. The big wave is coming because people borrowed against themselves. They were betting on that particular chip and they kept losing, and they're betting on it, betting on it, betting on it, betting on it. And then until they have nowhere else to borrow from or to bet against, then they just walk out empty-handed. In fact, not even empty-handed. Like they walk out and they still owe. And that's the worst case scenario that some of these families, unfortunately, will experience. So if you can somehow calculate it, see where you're at, be realistic about the whole situation. Don't dream. Listen to the news, but evaluate it, right? The news might be perfect news for somebody in that threshold, but not for you. Maybe in your case, you're already drowning. So you have to do your own research in a pen and a paper style. Ask your parents, they know about it. All right, so please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.